Welcome back to my channel, guys. Today we're going to talk about the 10 things I would never ever do as a luxury interior designer. Let's get into it. Okay, let's get straight into it. As a luxury interior designer, there are a few hard no's that I absolutely stand by. And these are things you'll never see in any of my projects, so I hope you guys don't do them. And because they instantly downgrade a space or miss the opportunity for something so much better. So let's dive into the design mistakes I would never make. And if you're making these, let's try and pivot, guys. Let's make your house smashing. First up, Oscar wants to say hello. He has a tie because he had a business meeting today. So he wanted to say hi. All right, first of all, I would never use default trim profiles. So that means standard, build, grade, anything. Always veer out of the standards and look for things. Now, here is something that happens regularly. I would call it a tiff, shall we say, with a lot of subcontractors who say, well, this is how everyone does it, or this is how we normally do it. And normal and how we always do it are, to me, bad words. Why? Because we don't do things on this channel, on the red elevator. We don't do anything generic on the red elevator. That is the absolute truth. Just to give you an example, I was at an installation for a client for a beautiful kitchen. We were placing knobs. I put the sticker where I wanted the knobs, and he literally stopped in his tracks, came and found me on the other part of the house, brought me back to the kitchen and said, ma'am, I just want to make sure that you are correct in wanting to put the knobs where your sticker is. And I said, yes, where the blue tape was. I said, yes, please, it's marked. And he said, well, normally we put it right in the middle. And I said, we don't do anything normally. Anyhow, anything that is builder grade in terms of trims and surrounds and moldings, any of those carpentry type tools and items really cannot be builder grade because they dumb down your house. They're very generic and they lack proportion, they lack visual interest, they lack anything that is going to make your home stand out. Instead, I recommend customizing the trim based on a lot of interesting architectural details that your home naturally possesses, and of course your ceiling height. In a modern home, I might do a flush baseboard with shadow gap. Those are my favorite things to do. You put a metal clean, super contemporary edge, and then your baseboard basically melts into the drywall. In a traditional home, I'll use a tall baseboard, typically 7 3/4, with custom crown details. So I also love specifying painted trim in the same color as the wall for a monochromatic look. And that is something we're doing everywhere and anywhere we can. In fact, I'm repainting my house for that exact reason. And this is why paint is so versatile, because one moment you've got, your white baseboards and you're happy. Next minute, everyone's pivoting, and it actually is a really good look to have your baseboards and your walls and your ceiling the same color for some color drenching. Now, you don't have to go dark for color drenching. Even if you wanted white walls, I still recommend having the exact same shade of white on all of your trims, moldings, walls, and ceilings. If you're into these kinds of insider design details that actually make a difference, go ahead and subscribe. I share luxury design strategies here weekly. We work tirelessly to get you the best, most current content, new things that are happening in the industry that a lot of people don't have access to. As a full-time interior designer and content creator, I have two jobs. One is to find out exactly what's happening in the marketplace. Two, to share it with you guys. So let's get into number 2. Never allow visible technology. I never leave technology, especially in today's marketplace with the advancement in all kinds of systems. There is a way to be able to make them very clandestine. So we don't want to see wires peeking out from behind a console. That's easy to remediate. We also don't want it to interrupt the architecture, the mood, the story you're trying to tell, and the luxury level that is very, very important and acceptable. So instead, integrate technology, or whether it be speakers or vents or things that are very clean and become invisible to the eye. If you don't want to change your system like your HVAC, no problem. Just get a new vent cover. There are ones that mimic the expensive linear ones without you even having to change your registers, which is amazing in the regular register sizes. So that is a great way to clean up your home, make it look like you have state-of-the-art technology when you actually don't. Another great way to hide your technology, such as your television, would be to have a framed TV art system. We install TVs behind sliding panels sometimes. We also pretend they're art. We sometimes frame the television. We do a lot of different things to make things look invisible. Another great product are the invisible speakers. In-ceiling plaster speakers, or those integrated into the drywall, let you enjoy full surround sound with zero visual clutter. I can't think of anything better. So dedicated AV closets are a thing for serious tech setups. We often design a hidden AV room, but remember, if you're doing an AV room, closet, or even a little area, any circumstance, you must, under any circumstance, have either louvered doors, which are doors that are breathable, and air conditioning, preferably air conditioning into that room. Yes, you can have a little air vent in there so that your equipment does not blow out. One of the mistakes I see in a lot of the homes that I visit as consultations is, listen, if you don't have a vent system going into this AV closet, your system is going to burn. All right, number 3, never specify only one type of metal finish. I would never use just one metal finish across the entire space. Here's why. Using a single finish, like all polished nickel or all matte black, flattens the material palette. It can make even the most beautiful rooms feel like it was bought in one afternoon from a showroom. We don't do that. Additionally, remember that not everything that you want is going to be from the same manufacturer. So if you're doing a shower with one specific finish and you need to do a shower enclosure with some metal detail, well, that might be from a different vendor. So being able to layer and mix your metals is what high-end designers do. Don't be afraid of it, and just know that if the designers are doing it, you guys can do it too. Used aged brass for lighting. Maybe you would do black and steel for hardware, and maybe antique bronze for plumbing. It all gives your home dimension and exclusivity. This is what builder grade homes do not have. You'll see everything is one color. It's very flat, it's very dead, and I just love mixing it up. I also love pairing warm and cool tones like polished chrome with aged gold to create tension and balance. The goal is not to match, it's to harmonize. Number 4, don't make assumptions about your art. Don't categorize everything identically, meaning don't necessarily put everything at eye level. Yes, art has to be at eye level, but it depends. So nothing is cut and dry, as you can imagine, in design and in art. Where you want to keep into consideration art scale and art height is, what is the purpose of that art? If the art is going to be enjoyed while you're sitting on the sofa, then you're going to want to have the art perhaps mounted slightly lower. In living rooms, I often hang art lower so it relates to the furniture and creates intimacy. In this living room, my art is lower, although I have a giant piece of art which is floor to ceiling. So in that case, that's my default. So that is what you have to consider. In hallways or grand staircases, art can be higher to guide the eye upward. Art shouldn't feel like it was placed according to a formula, is the point I'm trying to make. It should feel discovered, personal, and emotional. I've mentioned this before. One of my favorite placements for art was when I walked into the hotel off of Rue de Rivoli in Paris, whose name now escapes me thanks to my old age, but the art was placed on the ceiling at an angle. It was so unexpected in the foyer of the lobby. It looked incredible. And to this day, I'm mesmerized by it, and I really want to do it in one of my projects. I just think it's so chic. Number 5, never use stock cabinetry in principal rooms. Never, never, never. I avoid stock cabinetry in rooms where cabinetry is a defining element, like kitchens, primary bathrooms, and libraries. Here's the issue. Stock cabinets will never be the right height, width, etc. And they are made in preset sizes, which of course will dictate the design rather than you dictating the design. Architectural details will be forgotten. Your storage needs will be absolutely dismissed, and all in all, it's just going to be a bad look. So in luxury design, I always go custom. Why? Believe it or not, you can build good quality MDF so it's not overly expensive and make it custom. It allows really for perfect symmetry around a range or a window. You can integrate special features like hidden appliance garages or drawers that have systems that allow you to organize your things. And if budget is an issue, which I completely understand, choose materials that are a little bit less expensive, but at least get the customized look. And what's great about custom finishes, well, you can source different materials and finishes that can be sourced to complement your existing space. You maybe want to book match your oak, or maybe you want to leather wrap something special or lacquer a specific cabinet. All of that will allow you to really lean into your design and architecture strengths. Number 6, never, ever, never overlook the entryway. I would never treat the entryway as an afterthought because it defines the emotional rhythm of the entire home. And I've talked about this before, and the reason I bring it up again is that I feel that people are just not getting it. It's the transition from the outside world into your private space. And when neglected, it feels cold, it feels chaotic, but when done well, it creates a lasting impression and sets the tone that I would love for you guys to incorporate. Use custom lighting like a pendant or plaster sconce to anchor the ceiling height and add warmth. We did this in a recent project where we created an entrance that didn't exist by literally transforming the space into a tiny little foyer. We hung a plaster chandelier. We chose different material for the flooring for this tiny little vestibule, and that really created an entrance. You don't have to have a dramatic entrance to have drama. You don't have to have a lot of space to be able to do this, and you certainly don't have to spend a lot of money. The table that we put into this particular project, we literally sourced from Facebook Marketplace for $80. Then we had it painted in the color of the Rosso Levanto flooring to really bring this entire room together. In any space, you can consider all kinds of elements like we did. You can do marble, you can do stone, you could do custom wall treatments that are just in the foyer or millwork that wrap those walls. So it just makes it very, 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 very special. All right, 7. Are you guys ready for number 7? Of course, I have kept the best for last to torture you and myself. All right, 7, never use standard door swings without thought. Door swings are one of the most important under-considered details, and I have seen so many people get this wrong. In many of the projects where I'm hired, even with brand new homes that my clients have purchased, we change on many of the doors the swing. Why? Well, nobody thinks about where this door is going to hit. Should it be swing in left, swing in right, swing out right, swing out left? There are many options to consider. Most builders default to left or right swings based on what's easiest, not what makes sense. And the fact that I still see to this day light switches behind the door makes no sense. So if you were to open your door entirely and your light switch is behind it, every time you want to turn on your light switch, you have to go behind the door. Does not make sense. So if you guys have any issues with door swings, or you're just not sure how to transform your foyer like we just talked about, or you want to have a chat about life, well, I'm here. All you have to do is click the link in the description section. My Zoom consultations pop up. I am an expert on the expert, and we can definitely book a one-on-one session via Zoom, 25 minutes, 55 minutes, whatever works for you. I am here to help. I know that many of the time slots are getting booked up, so I definitely recommend that if you're thinking about it, to act fast. At the moment, it looks like my first availability is end of July, so if you guys need a consultation, make sure and book it now. I always step back and ask, would a pocket door allow better flow in tight quarters? Or would a pivot door feel more sculptural and dramatic in a hallway? Would oversized double doors elevate the entrance to a library or primary suite? Or how about if we eliminated the door entirely into just an opening? Even the material and height of the door matters. It matters tremendously. Full height slab doors in wood or specialty finishes can feel gallery-like. These are small upgrades with major impact. And since so many of you asked today, I am wearing a very exciting pair of pants. Why? Because I've never worn these kinds of pants and I love them. They are very comfortable and they're by a brand named Ammo. Of course, I'll link everything in the description section for you. My belt is the Hermes Etoupe Kelly belt, which matches the pants perfectly. My tank top is H&M. My cuff is Kelly Wearstler. And my shoes are Fendi. Number 8, my favorite thing to do in the entire planet is to never ever leave a powder room basic. And I think everyone in my home would agree with me that our powder room is jazzy, and I love it that way. It's got wild Balinese wallpaper. It's done by a French company that has drawn the jungle of a Balinese area, and it looks wonderful. We're in California, guys. It's just fun. So it's a jewelry box, for heaven's sakes. So here's the psychology. It's one of the few places guests experience alone, hopefully. They slow down, take in the details, notice the materials. So I treat it like a standalone design moment. It does not have to match any other part of your house. In fact, a complete departure from the rest of your house is what you want. Some things I love doing are using bold finishes, perhaps a lime wash, a bold wallpaper like I did in my powder room and in every client's powder room, or maybe a high gloss lacquer. Install a floating stone or brass sink, something sculptural, add a vintage sconce or art even. I love putting art in the bathroom, even if it's a tiny little room, because it just makes it so special. So the ROI on your powder room drama is key and huge. This is where you need to go big. Next, very important point I'd like to make is never ever get all of your inspiration from one source. It would be like going to one store to buy all of your furniture. Have you noticed that the people that go to RH and buy everything from RH and put it in their home look like an offshoot of RH that doesn't look nearly as good as RH because they don't have the ceiling heights, they don't have the proportions, they don't have the lighting, they don't have all of the bells and whistles that they do to trick you into buying their furniture. So guys, don't do it. I never design based on just one reference point, especially not just Pinterest or Instagram. Get inspiration from magazines, from books, from life, from museums, even something that isn't related to interior design. Perhaps a fabric you see at a store for a dress that you love, that's inspiration. People's work, that's also inspiration. So personally, I get the majority of my inspiration from my travels, which by the way reminds me that if you're not following me on the Nina Takesh vlog, a completely separate channel, you are missing out. I am making a complete fool of myself there because there are no parameters on a vlog. So if you guys want to check it out, it's very fun. I take you behind the scenes of what we're doing here. We talk about the ugly. We talk about the good. We talk about the bad. We talk about projects when they're in complete disarray. It's not polished. It's just me being me, and it's fun. So if you're interested in luxury design content, if you're interested in shopping content, makeup content, beauty content, this is the channel for you. And we will link it in the description section so you guys can follow. All right, let's get back into the world of travel. I am traveling this summer, so that will be on the vlog if you guys want to see what I'm up to and how I draw some of my inspiration. I always love to go into the random places that nobody's looking to find things that are going to inspire me. And of course, I love to do a little relaxation by the Mediterranean if possible. So everything from vintage set design to 1950s interiors and architecture is what really inspires me. And true luxury is very personal, and that starts with pulling inspiration from your own experiences and your own curiosity. And remember, there is no right or wrong in design. There are elements you need to follow in terms of symmetry and scale, but there is no right and wrong. In fact, the more you push the envelope, the better your design will be. Number 10, The last but most important point I wanted to make, which is why I left it for last, is never, ever, ever, ever use one material throughout one space. Let me explain why this is so important. Designing a room in just one material, like all oak or all brass, almost flattens the atmosphere. I want you guys to go into your rooms right now, and I want you to identify with pen and paper how many materials are in your room. I'm going to give you an example. I am in my formal living room. I've got velour, I've got oil painting, I've got concrete for the legs, I've got brass for the inset, I've got lacquered wood, I have marble, I have white oak, I've got leather, and I've got very prickly cacti. That is a very good point that I would like to make. Don't forget, I have cashmere and iron to boot. So how many elements is that? I want to say at least 10. And that's what you need to do. If you go in your rooms and you have 3 elements, you guys have to change some of that up. Instead, look to balance materials with tension and texture. Pair matte natural surfaces with something highly reflective. That's why gloss is back, because people are pairing gloss with something that is matte. Think plaster next to gloss or raw wood against lacquer. That contrast adds quiet drama without overwhelming the space. Use structured organic fabrics like textured mohair or raw silk to offset stone, steel, or sculptural upholstery. The mix of softness and strength creates high contrast and high design without being trendy. So blend H materials with refined finishes. Buy things that are new, but bring in something super old. A hand-painted, patinaed metal, old, rickety-rackety item is going to look amazing against a very polished shelf. And custom millwork, for example. It gives a room a sense of time, permanence, and it always looks good. Always look for contrast in tone and touch. Warm against cool is the way to go. It's not always just about what looks good, but it always is also about what feels good. People experience your home not only visually, but texturally. Think of them sitting down and putting their hands on your sofa, on your leather pillows, on your glass table. It is an immersion of your senses when you are experiencing somebody's home. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hi, come here. Oscar wants to say goodbye. He said he really liked this episode. Do you want to sit, baby? Do you want to sit? Sit. That's right. That's right. Oscar wanted to say goodbye. He really enjoyed this episode, and he agrees this house could use a little more work. What should we do next? I'm always changing things around, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. My goal is to give you the kind of content that you are requiring and looking for. So many of you tell me you have been binge watching all of the episodes and the blog and the vlog, I should say. And I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for being part of our community. It's about positivity. It's about love. It's about giving. And whatever you give, you guys get back. And I get so much love from you guys. Your comments are I appreciate every single one of you who write comments. And I just love being able to respond to them. I read every single one. Thank you for being kind. Thank you for being sweet. Thank you for telling me that I am relatable, because I'm really like anybody else. I'm like you, just sitting here talking about design and wishing every one of us could benefit from a beautiful home. I can't wait to see you guys again on this channel, The Red Elevator, next week. Bye.